Welcome to the Scholar Online YouTube channel, the channel that is all about learning. And we're back again with our ChatGPT tutorial series. Today, we're going to be doing part 5 of this series. I am telling you, there is no other YouTube channel that is teaching you the kind of stuff that we're teaching you on this channel. Today, we are going to do something really interesting. And I'm sure if you've been following along with what's happening with ChatGPT, one of the most popular use cases for ChatGPT is having the ability to load your own information or your own data into ChatGPT and being able to talk to that data or being able to sort of draw insights from it. So I'm talking about functionalities like your Talk2PDF, where you can just upload a document and then you can proceed to interrogate this document and get ChatGPT to draw insights. I mean, Talk2PDF is one of the most popular applications outside of ChatGPT that has come out utilizing the ChatGPT functionality. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to take the application that we have been building, which is this Scholar Chat application, and we're going to add a functionality to it that is going to allow us to be able to do all of that, uploading a document and then interacting with that document, drawing insights and things like that. And I think if you can really dig deep into this, there's much more that you can do with it. But I'll show you the basics of it and how you then customize it to your own use case. I'm going to leave that to you. Just a demo of what we're going to build today. You're going to be able to chat to a PDF document by the end of this tutorial series. You will upload a document, and once you've uploaded it, you'll be able to see which document it is that you've uploaded, the name of the document. You can start talking to it. We have the same chatbot. You could say, for example, what is this document about? And then it will tell you the document that you uploaded, what the document is about. So the normal chat to PDF functionality that you would have. So people that are lazy to go read long PDF documents, upload them and just get your insight out. But we've added it as an extra page, which means you can still go back to the old chat page and it's still there, the normal chat to GPT page, and then you've got the chat to PDF page. But before we proceed with this week's tutorial, we have homework from last week or last tutorial, which we need to cover, and I need to take you through how I did that so that you can be able to catch up with me with where I was on a part of 5 of the video, right? So let's get through the administration part of our learning. First of all, just remember to like our video, right? Like this video, leave a comment below, because it really helps our channel, helps to bring our videos to more and more people so that this amazing and useful information can reach as many people as possible, right? And if you scroll down to the bottom of the video, just open up that description box and then you'll find a whole lot more useful information, all right? You'll find links to useful websites. So if you hear me say, I'm going to link it in the description below, that is where you're going to find it. You'll find links to our previous videos, because as you know, we are doing a tutorial series. There's a lot to teach. I cannot teach it in one video. Even one video is at least an hour long. So you have to catch up. If you're just catching up with us and you just search Talk2PDF and this is all you found and you want to know how we built everything to where we are right now, just look back in the description and check out the previous tutorials so that you can catch up to where we are right now, okay? And of course, I also will try as much as possible to put on timestamps so that you can navigate through the video much easier. This just helps you to get to different parts of the video. And if you came back in future and you wanted to just find something very specific, feel free to utilize those timestamps. This means you don't have to watch the entire video. If there's just something specific you want to learn about, read through the timestamps and then use those timestamps. For example, if you click it like that, it will forward you to that part of the video and then you can just watch that section of the video, okay? So back to what we're doing here today. We are continuing off where we left off, and I just need to take you through our what I call homework, okay? So last week we were building this view where we updated our generate function with our generate function response, right? Because remember what used to be there before 2 weeks back, ChatGPT used to just take in the ChatGPT function. Let me just show you over here. If we go to platform.openai.com and you go into the documentation, this is always just very good practice to keep your documentation page open. You can get that from platform.openai.com and you just go into the documentation. The recent update with the documentation is they took the ChatGPT functionality, which was this one where you would just say open AI chat completion create, and all you had to specify was the messages as a list of objects that describes whether the message is coming from a user, an assistant, or the system. This is what we used to do, and this is how we have been building our ChatGPT sort of API functions. But recently they have updated the functionality, they've updated the API, and they've given us the function calling functionality, which means that it's not just chat completion. Chat completion will simply just answer the question that you give it with a response. But with the function calling, we have the ability to build functions into our API calls. And with that, you still define your messages as we would have defined messages before. So this is the definition of the messages. But we also, over and above the messages, we define a new function called functions. And this functions is also a list of objects, which means you can define multiple functions with this single API call. And what ChatGPT will do now is that it will look into those functions first, and then it will try and find if the response or the query that has been given by the user fits into any of the functions. It will respond with an object. It will respond with a JSON object, which would be sort of like an object that allows you to now just get different parts of those responses so that you can continue with your function calling and do something else with it. And we did all of this last week. So if I'm talking Greek to you, go back and watch last week's video, because I'm just recapping where we left off last week, okay, so that you know what we're doing right now. So what you're able to do with a function calling, for example, is that you are able to now, this is a function call, we are able to define functions, and then we're also able to define messages. And when we define functions, if ChatGPT now picks up a function call, you will get a function call sort of like a variable in the answer. And then from that function call variable, it will give you a JSON object. And in that JSON object, whatever your function requirements are, you will have those variables inside that JSON object. In our case, our variables was just a query, a Google query, because we built a function that would ask ChatGPT to check if what the person is asking is something that is beyond its cutoff in 2021, which would be something that requires us to do a live internet search, right? So for example, somebody asks, what is the price of Bitcoin today? This is something that would be beyond the September 2021 GPT-3 cutoff training. There's no way that the current ChatGPT knows what the price of Bitcoin is today. So that means that this function should be activated if somebody asks a question like that, and it should then pull out the specific query that we would be able to then input into a search engine and get the actual answer to that query. And then we take that response and then we put it back into ChatGPT, and we get we get that query. So let's see what we do with the query. We went into generate chat response with that query. So let's go back there and see what we did with that. And we put generate chat response query and Google response, prompt and messages. Why is this function called the same thing? Something is not right here. Did we rename this? Because this is called generate chat response. It's the same function we're calling over here, but this one takes in a query and a Google response. And this is what we are putting in here. Okay, it takes in a question and the Google response, and we're supposed to get an answer over there. But we should actually call this something else. We should call this general, because this, now we've called this function and that function is the same function name. This is going to give us problems, so we could be calling the wrong function instead. So what we need to be doing here, we need to call this generate live. Okay, so let me just call this generate live chat response so that it takes in the query. But I think we did not have a problem with this last, so I must have just renamed this thing recently. Just remind me, guys, if this was like this from last week, because we would have been having a problem there. Because what needs to happen here is that this response now is now going to be they generate live response, which now takes in the question that the person asked initially and the information. Let's see, what are we doing here? Yeah, and the information would be whatever it is we get from the Google search. Okay, so what we did was that we got the query. So if a function call is activated, ChatGPT gives us, the ChatGPT API goes into that question the person has asked and pulls out a very specific query that we should be able to ask Google to get an answer. And then we put this into this function which was called get search response. And search response is just a Google search, all right? So this is, we built a Google search. And in the Google search, there's some things we added in here. You had to get a Google developer key and all sorts of things. And once you get that, it gives you a sort of an answer from that search response. And then we take that answer from the search response and we put it back into a ChatGPT function where this is now the generate live chat response. And that one now takes the initial query that the user had given, which is the query that goes, which is the prompt. The initial query, which is what we got from the original function, and then the Google response, which is a second response, and it takes in these two variables and it creates another call, all right? And this should be a chat completion model with just the messages. And the first message obviously is you're going to give an answer based on this and that. And then, there's the question and there's the information that we got from Google. And then it does another API call to ChatGPT and then it gives us a response, okay? Then that response is what we sent back to the user. So the homework that I gave you last week was, because what we had before was, we had done the markdown formatting, and the homework was now include the markdown formatting and include saving of the previous questions as we had done before, so that would allow ChatGPT to remember your previous questions. Remember that homework, all right? Because last week where I left it, I wasn't doing that. So we created this new function called save chat record. And with this new function called save chat record, we now taking the response, we're taking the prompt and and obviously the user profile, so that we can get the ChatGPT record object and save all of this. This is from lecture number 2, all right? In lecture number 2, we went through the process of being able to create an object in the database for the previous conversation, so that ChatGPT can remember the previous conversation. The reason why we do this is that we need to allow, when we're talking with ChatGPT, it's important for it to remember the last question you asked it and the last response it gave you to enable the conversation, so that each and every question is not the first question you give it. This just helps with the user experience. So the way we do that is that now we have to actually record in the database every time you ask a question, what you asked and what response it gave you. So here we called that object ChatGPT object. And we use a Boolean called user-generated, true or false, to differentiate between whether it's a user-generated or it's not a user-generated question, and we save that in the database. Therefore, when we call the function the first time, this is what we had last week, where we were just building the messages prompt. So you can delete this, and now instead of just building the messages prompt, we actually start by calling the records, which is the record we have saved here before. We start by calling the records. We try to make sure that we don't save anything more than 10 previous conversations. You could have hundreds and thousands of stuff saved, which is going to fill up your database very quickly. So this number is up to you. You can make it 20. It's up to you what works out, and you can try out different ones and see the sensitivity and where your users are, because most users will want to refer to 3 or 4 questions back, but no one expects that the chat model will remember the 50th question it asked, like 50 questions ago, so just like use your discretion there to see how much of the previous conversation you really want to save based on what is reasonable and how much space you want to be using up in your database. Then after that, after getting the previous questions, we then build the system message, and we start, obviously our messages a list with the system message, and then we go through now the data in the database, and if it was user generated, the role has to be user, and if it was not user generated, the role is assistant, and then we save that prompt like that, and then we add the current question, which is what the user just asked now, which is the current prompt, and then we got our messages list, right? So this we didn't have last week. This was part of the homework. But if you recall in lecture 2, I think we covered this where we're doing the original messages function before we did the function calling. So it's the exact same thing actually. So the exact same thing we did in the other one, it was just a basic copy and paste exercise to do the exact same thing in this function, all right? So that you can have the previous conversation in here as well. And then at the end, we adjusted this a little bit because we used to be returning the response here. So instead of returning the response, we just defined the response because you could have a function call, so the response would be that. But if you didn't have a function call, the response would be that instead. So this function is versatile in that it checks if a function call was activated, then it goes through the whole Google stuff to go and do a Google query and all of that. But if the function call was not activated, it would just return the original response without the function call. And if there's an error in trying to return this, let's say there was a problem with whatever somebody asked, then it just returns an error. Okay, then what we do is that we then save. This is the only part you can save because you need to be able to save both the prompt and the profiles, all right? And there's a reason why we save in here you'll see we save the user generated first, and then we give it a time slip of 1 second because we want there to be like a slight difference in the time that it saves the user question as a user generated question, and then it saves the second one because this one would have happened first, and we give it a little bit of a time so that when you call this, because this is now ordered by date created, we want it to come in the right order. If you mess up this order, if for some reason, because with Python, if you run one function after the next and the functions don't take a lot of time, they could even be running on top of each other at the exact same time, which means that when you now try to filter them here by date created, filtering by date created, you're actually trying to get to order them chronologically according to the time in which they were formed so that they come in a specific list, because when you build this messages, you want them to be in the order in which they were asked and in the correct order. Otherwise, the model will be confused which question was asked first and which one. You understand? Because once stuff is saved in the database, when you call it back, it's just a long table. You need to call it in a specific order. So now with a time sleep, this allows this to be saved first and then that to be saved second, so that when you call it back in that order, you get the user question first, and then when you append them into this list and send them back to the database, they come in the right order. I know it's quite a bit to take in right now, but we're just covering what we've already done so far. Okay, so when you're watching this video at this stage, you should be able to know what we have done before you can continue. And if something is not clear to you right now, I would suggest you pause this video and then you go back and you watch the previous videos first. Because if you don't catch up with us and what we're doing right now, you're going to be lost even more. And you're going to start watching this video and think, well, this is too much for you. But this stuff is really not that complicated, because I'm doing everything on camera so that you can watch this video, you can pause it, you can replay it, you can go back, you can, so that eventually you will learn. And that's how I learned. I mean, people that know my story understand that will know that I tell everybody that would listen that I was self-taught. But by self-taught, I mean I watched other people's coding, and I watched YouTube videos, and I learned courses online, and I went to a lot of these places with online courses, and I was doing the exact same thing you're doing. I was going through the videos step by step, and the most important thing is that you need to code as I'm coding. So what I'm doing right now, you need to have your laptop in front of you and code along as I go along, all right? And use the infrastructure that I'm using so that you can learn. That is the only way you're going to learn. Don't watch this like you're watching a movie. Watch this like you're in a classroom. Pull out your laptop and type as I'm typing. And if you don't understand anything, pause, go back, rewatch the section. In this specific case, there's lecture 2 and lecture 3. If you don't get what I'm talking about with respect to saving the previous messages, I think that's in lecture 2. If you don't get what I'm talking about with respect to the function calling functionality, that is in lecture 3. That's last week function. Okay, so go through those videos, and then when you're happy and comfortable and you've done your homework and your function is where it is right now, where the actual function calling includes the ChatGPT records and it works, okay? And then also over here, what I did is that I also updated the text string, because what we had before, we were just calling the function with one of prompt without that. Okay, so now you need to update this as well to take in the profile so that you can use the profile to call the previous question in the next function. So you need to update this as well, but this one is a simpler part. You just replace the old function that was there with this new one. The majority of the work is over here to make sure that this function also takes in the profile. Before, it was only taking in the prompt, so you need to also take in the profile and use the profile over here to call the records so that you can get the previous questions and then use it again to save the records over there so that you can also record this current question that was asked. And it took us 20 minutes just to get to recap what we've done previously. So that's quite a bit. And before you continue, I just need to because we haven't gone into this yet. So I just want to highlight that out so that it doesn't cause us any problems. Because what I want you to do right now is that I want you to save everything that we have done over here. Okay, I want you to save everything that we've done over here. Save and test, and then I want you to test it. Okay. There's a couple of things we want to test for here. The first thing we want to test for is that this thing remembers our previous conversation. This is what we've been trying to do right now. So let us refresh this. Okay, so let's ask something like, I am at a restaurant. The total bill is $2,347, and we are 4 friends. We would like to tip the waitress 20%, 25%. Okay, how much must each of us contribute? This is a math question. It's a good question to ask when you want to be able to go back to the previous conversation and get ChatGPT to remember what you asked previously. So, and it's also a good question to test for if our markdown formatting is proper. You can see now that our formatting is exactly the way we want it. Initially, without this formatting that we did here in the views, before we did this markdown formatting, this all would have been one long paragraph. Okay, and this is not the best markdown formatting, but it's good enough at least to be able to see what's going on the list. So you can see the tip amount is 25% of that. It shows you what the tip is, and then it calculates the total including the tip, and then it divides that by 4, and then it rounds it off to the nearest. So I want to ask a follow-up question without asking the exact same thing. Okay, thanks. Okay, based on your response above, what would the new contribution be if we reduced the tip from 25% to 10%? Right? This is a follow-up question, and this requires ChatGPT to be able to look at its previous response to be able to answer you. So here we are actually now testing that, this part of our function where we are saving the previous thing in the database and we are getting it before we ask works. Because if we were not doing that, ChatGPT wouldn't know what actually it said previously. Okay. So look at it. Now it remembers, okay, the tip amount, it remembers exactly what the amount was, 2345, which is what I gave it before, 2345, but I didn't give it to it in this question. I gave it to it in the previous question. So when I do a follow-up question of just reduce the tip by 25%, it's able to go back and do the redo the new calculation. So this is the way that you must do it to test whether or not ChatGPT is remembering the conversation, because this is very, very important to have this right before we continue from here. Okay, now that's the homework done. Let's get to what we need to be doing in this week's tutorial. Okay, this week's tutorial, we are going to be talking to ChatGPT. We're going to be working with what are we going to be working with? we're going to be working with Talk2PDF, okay? And for that, we're going to be using llma-index, right? We're going to be using llma-index, okay? So let's just open it up in a new, oh goodness. I want to open it up from here. Why does it do that? I'm trying to right click. There you go. I'm trying to right click, and so that you can go, and I'm going to link this in the description, okay? So the first thing that we need to do is obviously install it and set it up. All right, so we need to pip install llma-index. All right, so let's clear this. Let's go back to our let's go load chat. I think that's the one. Clear. Let's activate the environment. Let's go low en. Clear. Source. Let's go low env. Then activate. All right, and then we can then install. You need to install it inside of the virtual environment. Then it'll go and look for it. That's the first thing you gotta do. And then after you've installed the llma-index, by the way, llma-index is a library that you can use to read and to index inside of ChatGPT many data sources. Okay, we're gonna be working with PDF, but if you go through their documentation, all right, and read through this in detail, there's a lot more that you can do than just storing PDF. I mean, website URL, links, all sorts of things. You can do a whole lot of that with it, all right? So let's clear this. And let me go to this code, the Talk2PDF code, which I just highlighted out. And let's unhighlight it, okay? So there's a couple of things we need to do first, all right? The first that we need to do is to I'm not going to go through the documentation now, but if you want, you can go through this documentation. But also, if you go to my video channel, my Scholar Online YouTube channel, if you go to our previous videos, my channel, and you go to previous videos, if you look through the previous videos, there is a video I've done on Chat2PDF, and I'm not sure where it is. This chat application. There you go. 2 months ago, this is the video. Create a custom ChatGPT with your own data. Okay, this was Ready Search. There's another one with llma-index. Okay, so let me just try and see here. Let me search llma. There you go. There it is. Okay. So build your own a custom ChatGPT step-by-step tutorial of using the llma hub and OpenAI API. Okay. So you can go through this and you can learn more, because I think I spent a little bit more time in this video explaining a lot of the background and how all of that works, which I'm not going to do today. Today I'm just going to show you where you can go and read up on the documentation. And I'm going to just give you a very high level that, the library allows you to use Python and your OpenAI API key to actually, read more on, it allows you to use the OpenAI API key and the library to, to be able to read a lot of the, sources using to create indexes that you can then, embed in OpenAI and then start to sort of like interact with those indexes that are embedded in the, and so forth. But yeah, I don't want to go into a lot of that technicality today. Just think about it as it's a library that you can use to talk to PDF, right? That's simple enough. So there are 3 steps we're going to follow. Because the first thing that you need to do is you need to create an index. You need to create an embedded index, all right? And to do that, you need to load your PDF wherever your PDF is loaded, and then you use a PDF reader to extract the data out of that PDF using the location. And then once you've extracted the data, then you then create an index using this sort of like a simple, store index generator. And then once you do that, once you have that index, you can actually immediately start to query the index immediately after you've created it. But what we will do is that we will store that index instead, so that it's a persisting index, and we can use it in future to just query that very same index. So we don't store it every time. We store it once, we create it and store it once, and then it persists. And then from that moment onward, we can always query it as many times as we want to query it in the future. Okay. If you look over here, in the previous video that I did, I don't think I showed you how to store the index. What we did in the previous video, we just created the index, and then we started to interact with the index and query the index. But now we are going to be able to store it and get back to it in future. And you'll ask yourself, what does an index look like? It's really just a JSON file, but I'll show you and we'll go through it as we go along. And I remember the first time I went through this documentation, I was confused about how it works, because LLMA library has made it very, very simple in the sense that you can do all of this with 1 or 2 lines of code, right? You can do this with 1 or 2 lines of code, but these functions, inside of them, already the API calls to OpenAI are embedded in them, which means you still need to have an OpenAI API key. These functionalities are not going to work without an OpenAI API key. You need to have them because they work in the background to create, to embed, number one, your document using the the OpenAI embedding functionality, and then later on to then query the index to get a response and things like that. Okay, so with enough talking, let us just get straight ahead with it. Like I mentioned, these functions use the OpenAI API key in the background, which means you need to import you need to create an environment variable that is called that is called OpenAI API key, and then you need to put the API key in there, right? So I'm going to actually run these functions off my AI engine code. So after calling the OpenAI API key there, I'm gonna just put it underneath here where I need to import OS, not 0s, import OS, and then I'm going to create an environment variable called OpenAI API key. This is very, very important because in these functions, they are using the API key in the background, and so you need to save it in the environment, or else you're going to have a problem. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is I need to find a way to store a PDF document. All right, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to either create a new model. So I'm actually thinking out loud as I go along here. I'm going to either create a new model, or I'm going to save the document in an existing model, which I think is probably better. And that means that but then that will be a problem because, let's do this. Let's start by, let's just save it. Let's just save the PDF document in the existing model. And we're going to simplify this, but you could, if you were building a real application, what I would expect is that you would create a new model, and in that new model you would have it related to the profile model, and then that new model would allow you to upload the PDF document. So it might just have a file field that says file field PDF document, and then that means that one user could have multiple of those file fields, right? And then you could store maybe the title of the document together with the document itself, and then you could keep track of the index of the document. I think let's do that. That's probably a better thing to do. So we're gonna call this Talk2PDF model, and this model is going to be models, and obviously we just want to do the same, These are I call them my utility variables. I have them in, they're useful in every model. So, but why do we have, let me just self.chat. This should be self.profiles .unique ID. This hasn't given me an error because I haven't even visited the admin side or tried to print this thing out, because that should have given me an error because there's no variable called chat in here. It's profiles. All right. And then let's see, date created, unique ID. And then over here at the bottom, instead of having this ChatGPT record, we have that Talk2PDF, right? And then we just need to make sure that we include this inside of our, that's why it didn't give an error before, but we include this inside of the admin profile and reset link. Okay, so we haven't included any of that. Okay, we'll do it later. So let's see, what do you want to have in here? You want to have the profiles, right, as a foreign key. That makes sense. Because you want to be able to relate each and every single PDF document that you get. Then you need a document. All right, so let's see. Let me check my Scholar Online documentation. Because I'm just referencing how I write my models. So if I have a file field, yes, I need to do it like this. Right, so I need to have file field, whatever the directory you want to upload to. Let's call this talk to PDF documents. All right, and this can be now, which means this can be created without it, but actually no, it shouldn't be able to create this model without attaching a document to it. Okay, so it should not be nullable. And then we should, let me just leave the null true, even though we know it shouldn't happen. I don't want to get an error of having to define a default. Then what else do we want to save in here? We want to save the location. And by the location, I mean, and then the index location, okay? Let me see, what did I call it here? Index location, yeah. Let's just keep the naming convention the same, right? What is an index location? The index location is going to be the place where in the index we save the file, and the location is going to be, they are all going to be string variables. So they're all going to be like character fields like that, okay? Is this the only character field we've got? Let me see in my documentation here. Let me find just this type of a character field, okay? So, and then the title of the document, okay? So this one will be a character field, and maximum, let's just put it 500. So this is nullable, blankable, and it's 500. This will be the physical location where the document is saved. This will be the location where we save the index, and this will be the title of the document. And you'll see why all of these are important. The title of the document will be whatever the person called the document, because maybe if you have uploaded multiple documents, you want to be able to tell the user which document they are now talking to. The index location is going to be the absolute path location in this computer where we have saved the index of this document after we've created the index. And then the location itself will be the location of the actual PDF document, right? And actually this location of the actual PDF document is not so important. No, it is. Let's yeah. And this document is the actual document itself, which will have a URL and all sorts of things, all right? So once we've done this, let's save this, Let's save this. And then let's see. What we want to do is we want to create a function. But let's save it first. Let's save all of this and then push it and run migrations and see what we get, okay? Hit add. Actually, before we do that, let us add this to our, let's add this to our, I'm gonna go to ChatGPT, new chat, and I'm gonna say, write me an admin.py entry for the following Django model. I still use ChatGPT to help me write code because I find that it does a much better job than I would have done. Or at least it thinks for me, okay? So what I need to do is to import. If I go to admin.py, I need to import it. And then after I've imported it, I will have the class. And let's have it like this. Let's do the class like that. Talk to me admin, and then we can just, do the register like that. And put in the model Talk2PDF, which is this one, Talk2PDF. Okay, this also works because it will be at least standardized. So at least then you can be able to see the profiles. So in the admin, we'll be able to see the profiles, the location, the title, and we can filter through profiles. We can search the profile's unique ID. We can search using the location. We can search on the title. Read only fields date created a unique ID. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I don't think we need to search via location. This is not that kind of location. I think the title. If I look over here, we can search via title, unique ID and date created. Because you can see over here, unique ID is reference self.date created self.unique ID, but I don't have it in the model. Go right over it, but do bear with me. And then migrations ran without an issue. So once we do finish that, we just say migrate, and then it'll migrate without an error. Okay, so we're good to go. Then we can, now what we need to do is somebody needs to upload we need to create perhaps a form. Do we have forms? We want to create an upload form so that somebody can upload a document, right? And so let's create an upload form, and the upload form will let me just ask, please ask this guy to create me an upload form. All right, ChatGPT, please create a Django form to upload a document. Just include the file field only. Okay, let's ask it to create a field. All right, it's a model form, matter field is document. Let's try this. Let's go into our forms. There's nothing in it. Oh, there's some forms in here. So import forms and import the models. That's the only thing we didn't import. Let's do it right at the top. Let's delete that because we already uploaded forms. And so we've got a form here. Okay, let me include the widgets and our bootstrap styling of form control. because this is going to be completely unstyled. There you go. So that's the form. Let's copy that because we want it to, what did I copy? The whole class. Okay. All right, so this is what the form should look like. It's a file input with a class form control. All right, include a label and make the field required. Okay. That's not how I would have written it, but I love to learn new things, new ways of writing stuff. So hence I love sometimes just even getting ChatGPT to do some of these basic things, because I wouldn't have written it like this. I would have written it differently, but I love to learn new ways of doing things. Okay. So the labels, the document is upload PDF. Okay, let me make it such that it only accepts .pdf type document. So I don't want someone to upload an image or something else. I want it to just it only accepts a PDF type document. No, I don't want it on the clean side, because I think you can do it with you can do it here. Okay, because by the time it reaches the clean, it's already late. What is it? Except no, let me no, I can't remember the specific wording. Do it in the file input attributes. Okay, the sort of the widgets. Okay, except .pdf. Okay, let's see. So that it restricts it only to, yeah, this is how I want it. So because if you do it on the other side, somebody has already uploaded and it just throws an error later. It comes back as a form error. It returns the form, it rejects it, but that's too late. I just want it to only accept it. So this, when you do it like this, it doesn't even allow you to upload anything else. When you try to upload an image, you just don't see it on your uploads, and you'll see how that works. All right, so I think I like it more like this. All right, so I like this file more like that. Then let's go and create this form inside our view. So how are we going to put this form? Let's see. Inside of our function, how do we allow people to upload PDFs? Okay, so the way I see it is, let's have multiple functionalities of our application, right? Because we need to be able to know when someone is wanting to chat to the PDF or when someone is just wanting to have a normal conversation. So I would actually rather do this in tabs, right? So I can have different tabs or even different, view pages. Okay, so I can even like create, a menu at the top there, right? Let's see our layout. What does our layout look like? Templates, profiles, index. Okay, we don't have a layout, we just have this. Okay, navbar collapse. I think this is a navbar. All right, so let me go into Bootstrap so I can see get Bootstrap examples. And which example was this that we worked with? I just want to have a look at how we built the menu the first time. Dish. It was this one, right? I think it was this one. I think it was, wait. I don't think it was this one. Nav bar fixed. Yes, it was this one. Let's have a look at the nav bar and see how we did it. Okay, view source. At the top there. All right, dish. So we had a collapse, navbar collapse, which is this one. And then we had an unordered list in there. And this unordered list had navbar, me, auto, mb, whatever, which is this one over here. And instead of this unordered list, there was list items. Okay, so this would be have a link or whatever, right? So let's just then copy this link, this list item, and we would have, for example, the home, just chat, right? And then we'd have another list item that would be Talk2PDF. Right, these would be two different HTML pages. And just chat, inside of our views, let's have a look there. Just chat is the home page, which has login required. Our other view would also need login required. So let's look at our URLs over here. This is the home. And then the next one will be chat2PDF. And this would be chat2PDF. And it would have the same path, chat2PDF. So instead of our URLs over there, we would, instead of our views, instead of our index, we would call this URL for chat2PDF, URL for that, and this would be URL for home, URL for home, right? Now, save all of this. What you can see is that then we actually really want to replicate this page index, right? I'm just gonna say index duplicate, and I'm gonna call it chat2PDF. And the chat2PDF part, everything will be exactly the same except whatever happens inside of the container. So let's have a look at our container. Get started with. So here we say get started. This is our chat2PDF. Let's call this chat2PDF. We're gonna say upload a PDF document. Let's see all this list items. We don't need any of that. Upload a PDF document. Document and start and use AI to talk to it. Whether you are drawing insights, whether you're drawing insights, whether you are, or studying the document, or just don't have the time to read all the pages. Okay. Then once we've done that, then we're going to have, instead of a list group, we'll have the list group. And we'll actually have everything exactly as it was over there. The chat will be exactly the same. The only difference is, we have a form over here. we'll have like a form that allows you to upload the document. Then after you've uploaded the document, then you start asking it questions. All right, so let's create a form here. Okay, form. And this form, let's forget the action. It's a method post. We need to include the enc type form data so that it allows for uploading of document. Let me just have ChatGPT remind me, write the HTML code for the form. All right, so let's say form group. All right, form dot errors --. Okay, so inside of the form we had that. All right, so let's try that. We know we definitely need a CSRF token and all of those other things. All right. Dash form.media dash form group form ID for label. If there's an error, it will show the error. Dash form.document. All right, let's just see. This is form control, right? So it will fill up the whole thing, and then there'll be a button upload. So I'll call this button upload document. All right, and then in the view function, so this will then be sent into the view function, which we need to create a view function for this. When I call it def, let's see what we call it in the URLs, chat to PDF. Right, and then it takes in the request, and then it returns this URL. Chat to PDF is the index file it returns. The HTML file it returns. Chat to PDF. We need to define the context as an object, and then whatever it is we send back to the context. So we will have, again, if request is equals to post, because but in this specific case we have two different forms that we would be posting. So let's have a look at my documentation here. I'm always referencing my documentation. So the form view with form. Okay, let's see. So what we need to do is that we need to, if the request is get, we need to define the form. All right, so if the request is get, the form is going to be, let's see what we have it as form over here in the front. In the HTML, we have it, we're calling it a form. All right, and on the other side we don't have, this is just an HTML form. It doesn't have, this is a manual form. It's not a Django form. Okay, so if the form is not a model form, the form is going to be a, what did we call this form? Talk2PDF form. So this is a form we need to have in here in the view function, right? So if the request or method is equals to get, we need to define what the form is. Does our form take in any initiation variables? We don't take in any, there's no arguments or initiation variables that we're taking in, and then we just add the form to the context, and then we display the HTML. So if there's a get request that comes to this path, all we do is that we get the form and then we display it. But if we have a post request, we do the exact same thing. We define the form, right? But it's not a model form, it's this Talk2PDF form. All right, we define the form, and then the form in a post request takes in the request.post, but it also takes in the request.files. specifically because in this specific case, we are uploading a file. And then after we've done that, we then, let's see what else we do. We check if the form is valid. So let's actually just copy all of this in here. We check if the form is valid. If the form is valid, then we save the form, and then we check if there's any extra variables which we add, and then we save them. But these extra variables, what would they be? In the form, we know the profile is an extra variable we need to define, right? Because the profiles, the person wouldn't select it inside of the form, but we need to save the profile with each and every single instance of Talk2PDF that we create. And we can get the profiles over here. We've done it before, request.user.profiles, that's the profiles. All right, so we can define it right at the top here. And we can say the profiles is request.user.profiles because the user is a one-to-one relationship with the profiles. And then we can define the profiles there when we save the form. This is because in our model, every time we save a Talk2PDF instance, we will have the profile that we must save so that we can be able to search for that PDF that has been uploaded in the future later on, okay? And we'll be able to get it via the user profile. So everything that we save, we need to be able to associate it with a specific profile of a user on our system. Then, and the profile will always be the current person that's logged in right now. And that's the request user profiles. So we've done that, and then after that, we can have messages and say the thing was saved successfully, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say, okay, so where do we reroute the person to? We reroute them back to Chat2PDF. All right. We reroute them back to Chat2PDF. And we tell them that your PDF has been uploaded. You can start chatting to it now, okay? And then we redirect them back. If there was an error, we just define the form error, and then we say problem processing request, and then we send them back to the HTML, which means the get, we send them back there with an error so that with the form, which would have the errors in the form, and then they would be able to be displayed, because you can see here in our HTML, when there's errors, we are displaying this. So these errors would display if, for example, the form was not valid, and then we have to then reroute them back to that page with the form object, and the errors would be in this form object, defining what was the problem, so the user would know what exactly they have done wrong, okay? So this will allow us to upload a PDF document, but there's still a lot we need to do here, because first of all, the user needs to know, like for example, we want to, okay. I'm going to do this in steps so that I don't confuse you, okay? So I always try to teach my students, don't try and build everything all at once. Build it step by step so you can check and see, first of all, if there's errors, if there's no errors, and things like that, so that you can pick up, and resolve certain things. So for now, let's just double check to see if whether or not this, this form works, first of all. Okay, run the server. Let's have a look at our HTML, refresh it. There you go, you've got just chat and Chat2PDF. Okay, if you click on Chat2PDF, you have Chat2PDF, and you can see just chat is still there. All right, and over here it shows in Chat2PDF, upload your whatever, talk to it, upload PDF document, and then upload document. All right. So over here, let's have a look at our Chat2PDF HTML file. Okay, over here, let's like make some break and put in a ruler in another break, just so that there's a little bit of space between where the document is being uploaded and the document itself. All right, so let's push this. All right, so we've added that. Let's have a look at what our function looks like. I mean, our page looks like now. You see there's a bit of a space there and so forth, but let's also put in a space between the button and the upload. So over here, let's put a space here as well. And perhaps not, yeah, let's put in a space here as well. Right. Right, so let's restart this. Let's see with the space. That's much better, okay? So right now, I'm going to make a decision that I only want each user to upload one document at a time for the sake of saving space on my computer, but so they also know which document they want to chat to. Over time, what you can do if you want to make it a really complex app, you could add your menu to this side, and then you could display all the document titles that get uploaded. And, you know, then when they are chatting, they could pick which document they want to chat to, or they could upload a new one, and then you could limit it and say maximum 10 documents or whatever. If you want, you can save multiple indexes. All of that is possible, but I'm going to simplify this application. I don't want to do any of that. And I want to be able to limit the number of documents people upload, right? So right at the beginning, I'm going to say docs, right? Docs is equals to, if I look at my models, I want to check this model. I want to call it Talk2PDF objects. Objects filter based on the profiles. So I want to check if this exists. This will be a boolean. It'll give you a true or false if you put exist at the end with a filter. So then I will say if docs, right? And then I'm going to generate a new variable that I'm going to call can upload is equals to false. Okay, because if this exists, it means that there is at least one document uploaded. Else can upload is equals to true. So if this doesn't exist, then you can upload. And then I'm going to create this variable over here, context, and I'm going to have it in there. And then over here, inside of my HTML, this entire area from the form to the bottom of this, I'm only going to make this visible if can upload, right? If can upload all the way to the last break. So up to here, and if, right? Or I can even have else over here, right? Else, and I can have like an H3 over there and say you have uploaded, let's see, document dot, what do we call this? What is it called in the models? Okay, so this is a document. It's called document. So you've uploaded document dot name, right? Start talking to it. So over here, if can upload, then document is equals to Talk2PDF objects filter. Actually, just do the exact same thing that we have here. Filter profile the first, just so I don't get an error, because I could always say get, right? but maybe for some reason there was more than one uploaded, and somehow this could happen, and this was past it, they could upload one. So I'm going to use filter and then take the first. So this will bring one document object, and then that's the object that I actually sent to the context, and then the person can see the name. Otherwise, can upload is true and they must upload. So what this will do is that if the user has already uploaded a document, we hide this form, they don't see it, and they just see in its place, you've uploaded wara. Let's see if we need some spacing in here. BR, okay, some breaks. All right. So after we upload a document, at the very least, what we should be able to see is the document that we've uploaded, and that we've uploaded it successfully. Okay. So let's save that and let's test our form. Okay, let's run this. Let's refresh our page, Talk2PDF. Reference before assignment. Let's look at our views. So let's put all of this up here. And then let's put this in here. All right. And then there will be no context or document in the other sense, right? Which then it wouldn't matter. Okay. Right, this should be okay. Let's refresh this. Can upload. What is this now? Being an idiot now. This must come here. It's a slow Sunday, so bear with me, guys. As long as we get it done in the end. And I think, errors are great. There's an art to debugging and reading errors and understanding what they mean and all sorts of things, and not being afraid of errors. I've seen people freeze when they see errors, like, oh my gosh, they broke something. But this is just code and it's computer. You can't break anything. So let us try and upload a document. Oh, you need to select a file first. And now you can see it only allows us to select a PDF document. Now let me see if I have a PDF document over here. Yeah, I've got one. DIT corporate profile. Let me see this DIT corporate profile document, what it is. Because I want to upload a document that I'm aware of. Okay. Okay, let's upload that. Let me see, what is this one? Language models, PDF. How many pages are this? 75. No. Let's upload the DIT corporate profile. That's better. Okay, the PDF. And you can see now that I said accept PDF. Anything that's not a PDF file, you cannot even upload it. It's grayed out. And this is probably the best way to do it. It just prevents someone from even being able to upload something that's not a PDF. And instead of waiting for someone to upload something that's not a PDF just to throw an error, okay, which is less efficient. Okay. So now we've uploaded the document and we are back on the same page, Chat2PDF. But now it tells me I have uploaded a document called Talk2PDF DIT corporate profile, start talking to it, right? And if I go to the Just Chat page, which is the home page, and I go back to the chat to PDF, it's still the same thing. So even if I refresh this, this is all I see. So this page, for as long as I've uploaded a document, it doesn't allow me to upload another one. And now this document has been uploaded. You know, we can even like, so that's the document.name. So what we need to do now is to find where this document is, this location of this document, and be able to now run the rest of the file. So let's clear this, right? And so you can see now, this is where my manager.py, my profile scholar chat, and immediately there is a new folder called this. All right, so let's cd into this folder, and there's our PDF is in there. All right, and this is happening because we did not define our upload. We did not define our upload folder. Because usually what you want to do in your settings is define your upload folder, but it's all right because, so this will now be our, because we're not going to be uploading anything else except for this. So now we know that our files are inside this Talk2PDF thing, and then whatever the file name that it is. And actually, let me just like do something here. Shell. Let me just check something from profiles.models. Import everything. Then I want to actually just get my, you know, I want to get this. I want to get this thing, this object that I just uploaded. So I'm going to say talk2pdf.objects.all. Then I'm going to say doc is equals to docs.first. So it just gives me the first one. I know it's the only one because there's no other one that has been uploaded in here. And then now that I've got this document, I just want to check something. If I look at the document dot, so if I look at the document dot document dot name, it gives me this. It gives me the entire name of the thing. So basically what I need to do is to look for the, if I want to find the absolute path of this thing, is to say the location. So if I say the location is equals to that, right, plus the document name, right? If I say this is the location, the location is, so the root or the home, you know, the root of the application, and then you go to the folder called Talk2PDF documents, and then you go to this, and then you should be able to find it. So let's test this. All right, and see how that'll work. All right, so let's go into our chat to PDF. No, not our HTML. Let's go and write. We're writing functions now, okay? So let's go into our this Talk2PDF, but also this AI engine. Let's put them next to each other. All right. So into this AI engine, I'm gonna write all my Talk2PDF stuff right at the top. All right. I'm gonna put them right at the top before we get to the bottom. All right. So I'm gonna define my location like that. My location is document.name, but obviously the document is equals to .models, import everything, and my document is going to be equals to, let's just see what I wrote in here. my document is going to be equals to Talk2PDF objects all. All right, so all the Talk2PDF documents, and then you get the first one, and the location is that doc.document.name. All right. Then the first thing we need to do is let's just check if this will work, this index, right? So let's first of all import that. So let me test that my installation has worked properly. So if I say Python and I try to import from llma-index, let me import all these things. I will not have an error, okay? So it means my installation of this worked without an issue. So I can just do the exact same thing down up here, right? I can import all of these things. Then I can then copy this function which returns the index, right? So this function, it looks at the location. The index location, we don't know what the index location is. So let's not store the index yet. And let's just enter just the current, this one location. So we get the PDF reader and we load that, and then we create the index, and then we return the index. And then let's query the index over there, right? Let's write this function to query the index, right? And then it takes in the query and the index, which will be the index we return from there. And then it checks that query and it returns a response. So with this, we know this document location exists. So we can actually run these functions, and then we can try and get the index. Right, so this one will load the index, and I just want to check if I can load this index based on this location that is a relative path as opposed to an absolute path. All right, so let's say get add, try creating an index. Okay. Right, okay, so let's clear here and say manage.py shell. All right, so let's import everything from AI engine. Okay, so from profiles, AI engine, import everything. Okay, so, okay. So I should have the location already described because I should have imported it, right? So that's my location over there, all right? So then I should be able to build the index. Let's check if I can do that. Okay, index is equals to build the index with the location. Oh, path is not defined, of course. Right after here, from pathlib import path. Okay, let's exit out of here because that won't work anymore. Let's clear that. Let's clear here. Import path. All right, and then we run the shell. From profiles, AI engine, import everything. What we're doing is that we're importing all of the variables and the files from inside of the profiles folder .ai engine. That's what we're doing. And then after that, we're gonna just run this first function. The location has already been defined. So we can just say index is equals to that. Okay, index, let's see what's there. So there's your vector store index. Now that we've got our index, we should be able to run a query with the index, right? I'm gonna create a query and I'm gonna be like, what is this document about? What is this document about? Right? And then run a query with the index, which has already been defined. Aha. This document is about the initiatives of the Digital Innovation Hub, DIT, which include the networking, investment, education, advocacy. It provides information about the organization, what it does, its demographics, how to join. How would you join? How would you join the DIT? Join the DIT. Okay, let's run that. You can visit their website, tech.com, and fill out the registration form. You can also follow them on social media and all sorts of things. Okay, query. What contact information and links are available in the document? Let's see. Okay, I wanted you to give it to me, but anyway, you can see now we've got an index, we've got a query, but at this stage this index is not persisted, it's not stored anyway. As soon as I end this conversation, the index is gone. So you can't, although the document is uploaded in the database, and basically every day the person logs in, we could always go back to the database and load the index. But that is taking up, credits with AI, with OpenAI, loading the index every time, right? With embedding the document. So what would make more sense actually is to load the index once and then persist and store the index so that you can just use it again in the future, the same index, until somebody uploads a new document, then you can change that. So now I'm going to do a couple of things. Now that we know the location, right? It's the document.name. I'm going to do a couple of things here. Okay, we're going to remove that. Actually, let me do this. We're going to create all of these when we save the document. So inside of the views, after we save this document over here, right, we're going to say location is equals to obj dot document dot name. And if you look at our models over here, okay, we have a location variable. All right. No, so in the views, so we can just say this is the location, and we can just say obj.location. So you can see how we can define the location immediately when you save the document, and then later on we'll be able to just call the object location to find the location of the object. And then over here, because we are already calling all the functions from AI Engine, we can actually just create the index right now, right? So we can then create the index, right? By saying, create the index by saying the index is equals to that, load PDF index with the obj location. Which is this. Actually, no. Let's save the object, okay? Save the object like that, okay? Let's save it. And then create a location, the index, right? The index is, then we can say obj.location. The index is load PDF index, and this obviously we are importing from AI Engine, and AI Engine here we are importing everything from AI Engine, right? Okay, so we'll be able to import that function as well from AI Engine. So then we can say index is equals to load PDF index obj location. But then again, if you look at our models, this is actually the index location. No, this is not the index location. This is just the location. The index location is going to be a location we define, okay? This is now where we want to save the index, right? So let's put it in here in the views and say index location is equals to, right, the home, I want to call them PDF index, right? And then we want to put in the profile. Let's use the profile unique ID. So if we have these profiles, unique ID, and then that is the index location. Then after that, we are going to then store the index. Okay, so there's a function we're going to call store the PDF index, and to store the PDF index we need to do that. It needs to take in the index, and then it needs to take in the index location. Okay, it needs to take in the index, and then it's taking the index location. So we can test this. Oops. Oh yeah, we still have the index over here. So let's try that. So let's look at our views, and let's say profiles. Okay, so let's not use this instead. Let's use something else. Let's say index location is I don't know, whatever, some random stuff. So PDF index dot that. So let's say this is the index location. Let's define that, right? And then now that we have the index location, we have the index as well. Let's define this function, which is now a new function that, is going to take in the index location and do that. Let's run it. Awesome. Then after we've run it, let's exit out of here. Let's clear. Let's list. Now we have a new folder called PDF index, and there's going to be a new random folder that is called whatever it's called. Let's cd in there, and then this is your index, you see. All right, so let's cd out of here, and I'm just going to delete this. Okay, rm, delete that folder for now. Clear list, there's nothing in here. If we go back there, no list. Okay, PDF index, it's fine, we can leave it because it's going to store many more in there. So now we know that index location, we can then just run this AI engine function, which is just going to store the index that we've just created over here, this index. Then it's just going to save that index with the index location into storing the PDF index in there, right? And after we've done that, then we're going to be able to run query with that index. All right, but before we can run query with the index, we would need to be able to recover the index first, and the function for that is def rebuild index from storage, right? And to rebuild the index from storage, we need to then get the storage context, which is here at the top, and from default we need to get this index location, right? We need to get the index location, which is the same index location here, right? And then the index is now load from index, that context, and then return the index. Okay, so this is when we're rebuilding the index from scratch so we can query the index. For now, we just need to save and store this index. All right, that's all that needs to happen for now. So for now, we just need to like say, okay, upload the file and then save the file physical location and use that physical location to create an index location that that you do that. But then we need to save this index location as well. So in the models, I think we have index location as a variable as well. So we need to then say obj.indexLocation is equals to index location, and then we need to then say obj.save. Right, but we can do this even after we have stored the index. So over here we can then save the index location. Okay, just save the index location. So here we create the index. So here we save save the file, right? Here we create the index, right? And then we save the index location, because later on, if form is valid, this is now request.method is equals to post. The second request.method is equals to post. The second time there's a post request, the form is not going to be valid. So the second time we're going to have actually response.answer. We're going to need to the next time there's a post request, it will not be a form. It will be something else. It will be like this thing will be the one which is being submitted, which there'll be no form. So if there's another post request that's submitted that's not a form, what we need to say is elif. Elif, we know elif elif form is not valid. But how would we know that this would be so let me check here. Elif, we have the prompt in request.post. Okay, so elif, there's a prompt in request.post. Let me just leave that blank, we'll fill it in so we know that there'll be a prompt. So also I can say elif, there is a variable called prompt, right, in request.post. This will check that the second request.post, because we have two forms now. We're going to have this form which is sitting over here, which we can't see, it's hidden, but it's there. And we have this form. So either one of them could be submitted on this, because we're doing this on the same view function. So if this one is submitted, this form would be valid. But if this form is not valid, perhaps it's this one that was submitted, then there will be a prompt in there. But if none of them is valid, it will mean that they probably submitted that, but the form failed, and then we'll still go into forms.errors. You see? So if this was submitted, all we need to do is to return the answer, right? Is to return the answer, response answer, and then where is it? Response answer, and do a JSON, return a JSON response of the answer, right? But the answer is obviously not an HTML string. The answer is going to be, we're going to need to do a, go back into our AI engine. Let's see, we're going to need to run query with the index, okay? So this will be run query with the index. Run query with the prompt and the index. But how would we know the index? The index, we need to actually determine it from the top here, okay? So if a document exists at the top there, right? If a document exists, can upload is false, and then we send the context. But over here, we need to also collect the index, because it means the index exists, okay? So here we need to collect the index. And then for us to be able to collect the index, what we need to do is to say, let's look at our function for collecting the index. We need to rebuild the index, which is the index location. Okay, so we need to say the index is equals to that. Rebuild from storage with the index location. And the index location is actually this document.index location. Do you see? Because we've saved now the index location in the document. So when we save the document the first time, we will save this location, which is the physical location of the PDF document. Maybe in future we want to rebuild the index again or recreate the index. We can recreate it using this location. That's why I'm saving it. And then after we've saved this, we load the index and create that index object. And then after we've loaded the index, then we check the index location and then we store the index in that location, the way I showed, we just did now on the command line. After we've stored the index is there, right? We've stored it, then we save the index location in the object variable. The object variable is this Talk2PDF variable. We store the index and then we return, we say, good, your stuff is stored, you're good to go. Now the person wants to start asking questions to this index, right? We've refreshed this page. When we refresh the page, it goes through this side, and now when it goes through this test of finding if something exists, it already exists, and it sends the document to the front, but it rebuilds the index at the same time from storage using the index location. So now we have this variable called index, which has been rebuilt. So now when you send the prompt, that index variable is already there, and the prompt is the one that has been submitted with the form, and then we run this query on the index, and then we return the response. Isn't that cool? But before this can work, I need to actually delete the original PDF document, because the PDF document that's stored now is not stored with, the index location. So this is not going to work. This is not going to work currently. The index location has not been stored in the document and the other thing, because I just uploaded it initially. So let me just delete it, okay? All right. So let's just get this. Yeah, I think docs from, what is this location? The profiles.models, import everything, and then the documents. Actually, talk2pdf.objects.all.first.delete. We'll delete this thing, which means that if I now say docs is equals to this, right, and I say docs.count, there should be nothing. All right, so we've deleted it. Let's push these changes first. All right, Python. All right, so now when we refresh this, we should see the upload button again, because now when it goes through this function and it checks for if this exists, it will be false. So then can upload will now be true, which means that we should now be able to upload. And then when we upload, we'll go through all of these steps and save the index and all of those things. And then we should be able to completely talk to the PDF immediately after we do that. All right. So yeah, the PDF document is now there, able to be uploaded. Let us obviously select a file first. Let's select the same file, DIT corporate profile, and upload the document. It's going to take a while to upload the document now, because so we've got a bit of an error here. Let's see. The index load PDF index, and then loader data path location. All right. So the load PDF index line 21 of AI engine is the one throwing the error. So AI engine line 21, this location. So this location that we're putting in here. All right. So this location that we're putting in here, if we look at our views, this location, yeah, but so it's saying there is no such file directory as. So for some reason, that location doesn't go through as it should, because, okay, let me check something. Exit, let me see what was stored in the location. Clear, because this was saved already, so when I go here I should be able to find it. So let's do python manage.py shell, and I just want to see what was saved here as the location, this obj.document.name. all right, so let's do the exact same thing that we did before, where we said yeah, so from profiles dot models import everything. So I want to see this objects dot all dot first okay, dot all dot first. There is a document there, so let's call this doc is equals to that, and then let's say doc dot document.name. okay, let's see, doc.document.name. yeah, so why does it not exist? Okay, let's refresh this. Let's copy that, because the location should be that, but then this is trying to say that there is no file or directory called that, which is weird. So let's do that instead, and .document.name. okay, okay, let's just try that. Let's docs is equals to that. okay, docs dot count 1, docs dot first dot delete. okay, docs dot count. I'm just deleting the document again so that I can start from scratch. okay, because it's giving an error, but I can't make sense of it, because it's saying that the location doesn't exist, this location, but we know that there should be, saying no such directory as that. So anyway, let's try and do it the other way around and see. okay, try again. all right, and then run server. Let's try this again. We've deleted the document. Let's upload it again. The profile. There you go. The document has been uploaded now. You have uploaded Talk2PDF documents. You can start talking to it now. Okay, cool. Let us just refresh this page, but it shouldn't matter. What is this document about? What is this document about? Okay, it doesn't know what it's talking about, what I'm talking about. So this is very weird. Do we have an index here? If we didn't, wait. Yeah, I think I know the problem. The form inside of the Chat2PDF, this form, where's the form? This chat input, it goes to URL home. This is a problem. So the second bit is not really a form. It's so this Chat2PDF shouldn't go to URL home. So in the URLs here, it should go to URL Chat2PDF. Because it's going to URL home, it's actually going back to the normal chat, whatever. So here on Chat2PDF, this should go to URL Chat2PDF, not URL home. Okay, that's a little bit better. Save all. Let's try this again. URL chat. Okay, what is this document about? Now we're talking to the document, not to the, to the language model, the normal chat PDF. Otherwise, I think when it was going to URL home, it was asking the normal chat to PDF functions. So generally, Talk2PDF calls do take a little bit longer. I think it's just, I don't know what the language model behind the llma-index and what functions they're using there and so forth, but this is a little bit too long. Shouldn't take so long. Okay, that's a little bit too long. Data to answer. Is it still asking? Okay, so that's taking way too long. So if we go to Chat PDF, let's look at it. Return JSON response. That's exactly what we're doing over here. And it's taking way too long, so let's see what's going on here. Okay, let me try some things here. Prompt. Print the prompt for me and print the answer for me. Okay. But do we have an index actually? Perhaps we don't even have an index. So maybe this index location is not saving it properly. Okay. Oh, this is a problem. Rest is not defined. Ah, of course. Okay, no, I don't need to print anything. So this is my problem. Okay, so I don't need to do that. Over here you can see we are defining this, res like that. So we just need to do the same thing over here. We need to just do that. Or else what we can do is that we can just create an object. Let's just define it like that. Because otherwise you could just create an object with answer, right? Like that. And res answer is equals to is whatever this, But otherwise we can just do it like this as well. Yeah, let's do it like that. Okay, save all. All right, so let's refresh this page. What is this document about? Ask ChatGPT. Perhaps we even want to change this at Ask ChatGPT and make this button say Talk to PDF. Talk to PDF. Cool. Okay, let's see. The response back. Yes, this document is about the initiatives created, organized, whatever. This initiatives include networking, investment. What are the key takeaways from this document? What are the key takeaways from this document? The takeaways are creating value, including networking events, facilitating investments, creating, sharing educational content, advocacy initiatives. The document contains information on demographics, how to join a list. What does the document say about DIT demographics? Yeah. So there you go. We've built our own Talk to PDF, function, and the demographics are like that. Founders, whatever. So whatever data is in your PDF, you can just immediately talk to it and get the answers out. So imagine you could upload any PDF document that you want, create an index, store the index, recover the index, talk to it on the HTML. And this is now the difference between this video that I did here before, where I was just showing you on the command line perhaps how to work with llma-index, and taking the functionality from the command line to building an actual application, because this is not just dealing with it on the command line. This is creating a front-end user interface where someone is actually having a conversation with the document. What you could do as well, some suggestions and ideas for you is that you can then enable, like you could have an option here that says update the PDF, and then somebody could upload a different PDF, and every time they upload a different PDF, you just write over the old PDF, you remove the old one, you save this new one, you recreate the index, then you show them what it is that they are saving in here, they are talking to, and then they can just upload. Or you can allow them to upload multiple documents, or you could create a list on this side, and then every time they are chatting, they could pick which documents they are chatting to. That is just application building, but the basics is what I've just taught you now. So you can take this and be creative with it and expand it in any other direction. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. I think when you have a chatbot online which has the ability to just do a normal chat conversation, it has the ability to chat to a PDF that is about, you guys can let me know in the comments below if there's any other functionality you want us to add to our ChatGPT application, perhaps something that is of interest to you, or should we get along and put in the payment processing and then deploy our application and start making money out of it. So with that, I would love to sign off, and I'll see you guys next time.